Okay, welcome everybody. We've been going over a master class by Mochi and Mark Olson, and we've actually taken a big detour off of master class for a while. What we covered the last few times is not in the book, um, but it's relevant to the topics, and the topics. The chapter 2 topic for Mark Olson is really a big topic and deserves probably several books. Um, uh, to cover everything that might be related to it. So he did take some detours. This will be the last one. And although preparing for this one, we could make you could write a whole book on this topic. And this is basically prime versus prime or priming game checker plays. Often it's prime versus prime, but not always. Um, so and we looked at kind of a methodology to or a system to evaluate cubes and spent like a session and a half, I guess, on that. So there's a three-factor model, which was essentially how good is your prime compared to your opponents? How many checkers do you have behind the prime? And are those checkers at the edge of the prime? And what's the timing like? And so if you have an advantage in two of those three, it's probably a double. If you have an edge of three, it's probably a double and a drop. Um, and so that's kind of that helps a little bit. It's not always straightforward as how to apply that, but it gives you at least a working plan. And those ideas, basically, the strength of the prime, being at the edge of the prime, how many checkers back, uh, and timing, sort of often factor into what kind of checker play you want to do. So we're going to look at things like, filling in the prime, uh, knocking your opponent off the edge of the prime, um, and extending the prime, uh, taking into consideration timing and things like that. Uh, all this is a very, very broad subject. Some of the positions get very, very difficult. Um, I'm going to try to do all that in one session. Can't really do it, but I wanted to touch on a number of subjects, show you a few easy situations to introduce things, and then a few more complicated ones, um, just because well, everyone wants to see complicated stuff. I don't know. Can't help myself. So let's start with what hopefully is an easy one. We have a five. It's on the screen now. We have a 5-1 to play, and what do we do with it?
Well, you come in with who's to play black.
Yeah. No. Oh,
It
it is
seems
black.
obvious it's black.
I didn't mean to do that. Let me swap that. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's white to play the 5-1. Sorry about that.
It's not so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes it a little bit more difficult. I was thinking actually we'll go back and look at it the other way. I was thinking white had the 5-1 because that's what we usually do. Um,
Would make the two and split.
make the two and split. So 7-2, 24-23. And yeah, now and what do we want to do with why we do or would we do that?
Well, I, I mean, he's on the bar, and while he's on the bar, I want to split the 24 to 23, and I'm not worried about 6-1.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So first thing is we want to come to the edge of the prime. Because we have to get over the prime, and we can't get over the prime until we come to the edge. And so, yeah, well, we could roll a 6-1, and that would get us out assuming the black doesn't make the 5-point or the 8-point. But if we get the ace now, we can maybe get the 6 later, and we don't have to roll them at once. So yeah, so that's come to the edge, and then with the 5, yeah, let's keep black on the bar, and let's not get the block. We don't want that third checker back if we can help it. And again, when I try to look at it in the from the light of the model is, we both have 2 checkers back. If we can avoid getting that third checker back, we're better off. Now it does put black, if black does come in at the edge of the prime, but that's a trade-off. Right now, though, he's not at the edge of the prime. He's on the bar. So that's if he comes in at 2, hits us, now he's at the edge of the prime. So yeah. So the answer here is split, get to the edge, and which is really getting to the edge of the prime. That's the key thing here, and then covering here. To keep preferably to keep black on the bar and away from the edge of the prime, less likely to be at the edge of the prime. Okay. Look at the next one.
I hit.
Go ahead, Antoinette. I think you spoke first.
I would hit and come in.
Hit and come in. Okay. Any other ideas?
That's the same. I agree with Antoinette.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, if you become familiar with these, this should be an easy play to see. Now, what throws people off is the hitting part. Because black has a 5-point board, no one wants to get hit. But if we look at what happens when we hit, black can come in, but if black comes in, we've got a 6 prime in front of him. He's not going anywhere from there. Should we be worried about being on the bar against a 5 prime or a 5-point board? Well, the answer is no, because there's an open 3 that we can hit. If black covers that 3-point, then what's he going to do? He can't come out. We have the 6 prime. He's going to come in until he crashes and then we get out. And then when we get out, we're going to hit him loose again with a 3, or we're going to split this down to the 2 or to the 2-point or the 3-point, and eventually cover. Maybe we try to pick up a second checker and that sort of thing. So this one, once you're familiar with the concept here, this should be an easy play to make. You've got a 6 prime in front of your opponent, and your opponent has made his ace and deuce point. We're not going to get trapped back here. Now,
suppose the black checker on the 24 was on the 22, so there's more chance of being trapped. Would it make any difference?
Yeah, well, it does make a difference. It makes it a lot more scarier, because now you can hit loose if you get hit back, and then you come in on the ace.
Yes.
It could go very badly. Whereas it's unlikely to go badly the way it was before.
Yeah.
However, it's still the right play.
But it's close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the right play, but now the completely safe play, or at least the safe for this time around, is about equal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on plus. Yeah, so actually on plus it's a little bit worse, because there is that small chance, and keep in mind it's a really small chance, because black has to roll an ace first, and then we have to roll an ace before black crashes. So, um, it's certainly it's certainly a realistic possibility, but it's not likely. Because even if black does come right in, hits us, puts us on the bar, we're likely to dance a couple times before we actually come in. Black may be forced to leave a blot. Black may be forced to crash. Um, for that matter, if we come in and we could hit black loose again, and then black may dance again. So all those are very likely. Here it's 88% wins versus, I guess, 91. A lot more gammons this way because of these two checkers still out here. Um, so yeah, a little scarier, a little bigger chance that this might go bad for us, but it's still the right play. It's still pretty remote. Well, actually, given this, the really safe play is a little bit better. But yeah, if you did this, this is not too far off, and you do get more gammons here. All right. Yeah, here's another one which hopefully should be easy.
Come in with an 8, split 24-23 and come to 13-8.
Yeah, anything else? Anyone else have an idea?
Can't see anything else.
Yeah.
You're
No,
trying
yeah. I mean, this is
to make the 8 point. I see. You want to make the 8 point. Yeah.
right. With a couple things we want to. Okay, we're starting out this, if we're looking at from a cubing point of view. Each of us have 5 primes. We've got 2 checkers back, not at the edge of the prime. So how do we improve our position? Well, we want to come to the edge of the prime. We can, and we can with the ace. And we want to extend their prime so we can slot the back of the prime. When you're trying to extend the prime, often you're going to slot the back of the prime or the front of the prime, depending on what you have available. And that's how you extend the prime or snake it, what's called snaking it forward. So yeah, here we can do 2 things, 2 good things. We step up to the edge, slot the back. And actually, having done that, that's a pretty big advantage of 65, 35. Once we do that, so we're in pretty good shape. And okay, again, this could go very bad at 1-6 for black, and that's not good. But that's one roll, and unless black can cover, we can then run out with 1, or we can make our own 6 prime, in which case we just sort of wait for black to crash. Okay. All right. Okay. What about this one? Getting to a little more tricky ones.
Well, I don't like hitting because I want black to move and break his prime.
Right, but you don't want black to roll a 6 and buy time.
Well, there's that as well.
If black doesn't roll a 6, he's crashing his board, so I would not hit it. I would just
Yeah.
come down probably to the 10.
Oh.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, I understand all that. Uh, and I would be, it would be kind of scary to hit here too. But it is the right play. It's knocking here. It's um, yeah, and these are tricky. There are probably situations where it's not right. Often, um, you don't mess so much with your 5' because it's still pretty strong. But if black does come out with the 6, all of a sudden black has a lot of timing, and so that's the problem here. Uh, I don't know of any rules that would tell you when it's right to hit here or not, because there is a big risk here. Obviously, if black comes in with a 3, um, now we have a third checker back, and then we're really well. Um, let's say black does come with a 3, um, and unless it's a 3-6, black has more timing issues. Black is likely to uh, break his prime. Now, if he does hit, certainly black has the advantage. We'll have 3 behind the prime, but he'll have to break his prime unless he comes out with the 6 right away. So, there are a lot of trades off. This is really tricky. I don't have I don't know of a good explanation of how, um, you know, why you would hit it here and maybe not in certain other circumstances. I think, um, let's see if we move it.
Can you roll it out?
Yeah, but we can't get the answer in time. So, well, here's if we,
Well, you can do plus plus quickly, can't you? Does that make any difference? You're on a very
well, we can do plus plus.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't change much.
Mm.
But the key here, by moving this back, the key here is the timing. Because now when we move this checker back, uh, black's not likely to crash away right away. It looks like we're better off not hitting. In fact, hitting here in this case,
Mm.
it's not a blunder, but it's not right. Although not white, we do plus plus. Well, okay, that's interesting. It became right even on plus plus, but it's much closer.
Mhm.
So the issue here is the timing. Um, okay. Anyway, I don't have a good explanation for that other than you have to look at a lot of these to get a sense for it. And in this case, so I'd be very tempted to do one of these other plays, even though this checker's here. And in this case, it's not a big mistake um, to not hit, whereas this one, it is a fairly big mistake to not hit. Okay. So what do we think about this one?
think I would hit and then move up to the 23 because you can promote with the 6.
Yeah. So we're gonna move up 23. Yeah, we want to get to the edge, and in this case, it's a 4', but 22 point would be the edge. Now we can hop out with the 6. Uh, some people call that, we can see the light, so to speak. So that's why this is important to do that, as opposed to 6 to 5. And then the question is, well, what do you do with the 5? There's not really a good 5. And so, it's either this one coming in, you're certainly not going to break your 7-point, or you can hit. So it's really hitting. Hitting is kind of default, but it's the 8-3, or I'm sorry, 23-22 that that is the important thing here. Get to the edge of the prime, and then hitting. Well, the worst, if we get hit back, we'll have three behind the prime versus black's 3 behind the prime. So, bit of a risk there, but you got to step up. Okay. Oh, I'll give you the answer right. Ignore the answer. Sorry about that. Forgot to unsave it. Okay, double ones.
Yeah, come up twice, 24, 23,
Mhm.
7, and hit 2 checkers on the bar.
Yeah.
And you're
So
at the edge.
there are a lot of good things you can do here. So coming up with 2 is really nice because it puts a checker on the bar and brings you to the edge of the prime. Um, also, you can take a shot. You might get a shot at this one. And so the question is, what about the other 2?
I think you have more checkers to point on him.
Yeah. Well, you could also make the 3-point, putting black on the bar. Not
Yeah,
putting
but that's
red.
not coming to the edge.
Yeah, but yeah, coming to the edge is important. If you can do that, that's really a key thing to be able to do, and particularly when it puts black on the bar, because then you can't get when you come to the edge. If you just hit with a single blot, you're subject to being attacked. And our board, our prime, is a broken prime. It's not nearly as good uh, as black's prime with a 5. They're both 5 primes, but ours is broken. That's a lot weaker. So yeah, so coming up with 2 is a good idea. Even if you just came up with 1, there's really no good option for that. So it's a question of do you hit or not? You could make the 7, the bar point. Um, yeah, again, I don't know how, and I think hitting was right. Yeah, hitting was right. I don't have a good explanation of why hitting is right here. Other than in general, putting 2 on the bar.
Is better by far.
Yeah, the return in order for black to get a return shot to hit us, he's got to roll a 3, 3, I guess, or double ones. So that's better. If we just hit 1, we're going to leave a shot probably. Well, I guess we could go 6-4, 23, 22, and 6-4. But that's not, that looks pretty ugly if you look at that. But a play like this one, 8-7, doesn't look terrible because we've got, the nice 5 prime. We can maybe make the 5 prime again, and then we got a lot of chances to extend it forward, putting black on the bargain. But we're giving up, a fair number of shots here.
2, 6.
Yeah,
2,
1, 5, 2, 5, 3,
1,
5, 2, 6, and 2, 6. So that's 8 shots. And if we do that, we're not so good. Okay. But here, the main idea is, okay, we can come to the edge of the prime with 2. And that's probably the key feature. Anything that doesn't do that is a huge blunder. I don't know. Yeah, here for some that don't. It's a huge blunder not to
Plus,
do that. 0.5.
plus they're giving the cube away. So we have You have to try to make the best of a situation and
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's sort of the introduction to um, some problems with with prime versus prime. Hitting off the edge of the prime is usually right. Coming to the edge is also usually right. When you can do a combination of those and having to choose one over the other, it's not always easy. And but but at least you can narrow it down to what's useful or not. Um, Now I want to do a couple on um, um, well, that actually this isn't one. This is another one where we've got a number of choices to make. um, a lot of good things you can do here. Here we're like kids in the candy store again. Um, Many things that would do something good for us. The question is which is the best one to do. Best ones to do. We can make the 2 point. We can come out and hit. We can make the bar point. We can come out from the back. Um, any idea which is the best one here?
I think we've got to come out with a 6. And then I would, and then I'd hit one of the outside blocks. I don't know which.
Yeah, we've got 3 behind the 5 prime. 6s, don't grow on trees. We'd really like to come out with 1.
We've got the poorer timing, haven't we? Slightly.
Let's see. Yeah,
no idea.
he's got two out here versus our 1. 2 not part of the primes versus our 1. So yeah, we've got the poor primary. Yeah, we're not really good position here. We got the weaker prime, 5 prime versus our broken 5. We've got 3 behind the prime and 2 at the edge. And because we have a broken prime, black has 3 behind, but all 3 are at the edge. And black has better timing because his spare checker is here and ours is here. And this is no timing. So what's the
So, Gary,
yeah.
so why don't you use the spare that's useless on the 3 with your 1 and make the 2 point, take the guy out.
Well, I mean, there's
That's the
much
play
sense
I
of
was
that.
looking at. Make the 2 point.
Well, you've still got 3 checkers to get out then.
You have to jump out with a 6, period.
And hit 13-12. That will be my play. Out and 13-12.
Yeah. Yeah, look, yeah. So it's a good point. Coming out, if you have the 6, you got to get 3 6s and a 1 come out. So you've just gotten a 6. So you probably want to do that. I would say that's probably the first thing. And then the question is, what do you do with the 1? You can make this point. You can put black on the bar, leaving these 2 blots. What's the other place you can make a 1?
You gotta hit one of the 2 or the 3 blots and just question
13,
which
12.
one.
13-12.
I would hit on the 12.
I think 13-12.
Okay. And why is that? Why 13-12, not 17-16 or 2-1?
It's-
Duplicate ones for starters.
It's fewer return shots by black to hit us.
Yeah, well, certainly 2-1 gives the direct shot.
Right, which we
all
don't
the
want.
others, all the others are indirect, and the ones at least here duplicated. So that would be a good reason to cross out that one, 3-2. Not what we can do the 13-12 or 17-16. And so if we do 17-16, then black has double ones, 1, 5. I'm sorry, 1, 4.
2-1 and 2-4.
2-1 and 2-4. Yeah. So that's 7. I think. And if we do 13-12, black's got 2-1 and 1-1.
Right, and the other thing is I have better timing if I hit the 12 and not the 16.
Yeah, got good point. Yeah. Now look at this. Now, well, now our timing has certainly. Oops.
Your white check. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Now our timing has dramatically improved because now we have 2 checkers out in the outfield to run around versus black's 1. Now black doesn't have bad timing because he's on the bar. He could dance, and that you get a lot of timing with dancing. But we certainly expanded our timing just by coming out. There's another reason to come out. Okay.
That's my thoughts, but I don't know, XG plays better than any one of us. So what can I say?
Yeah. So let's see what XG says. And yeah, it's and that is the right play for the reasons that we talked about. But again, it's a lot of good things you can do with this roll. It's not obvious right away, but if you think through it, I think the key thing is, okay, we've got to come. We have 3 6s to get behind that prime, or hope that black crashes. And given black's timing, it's not likely that black's going to crash before we are, because black has the extra spares here. So we really want to come out, and if we can hit and put black in the bar, that will give us, that will reduce significantly the chances of the rehit, which would put us, into a bigger problem. Because again, black's strength is that he can come out with a 5 or a 6 here, whereas we've only got to come out with a 6, and we got to get a 1 and a 6 for the checker back here. Okay. One last idea for this topic. And here, I would call this, we're sort of desperate. We're facing the 6 prime, which is not good. And so what's our strategy here? How can we possibly win this?
Well, we've got a lot more timing.
Counter prime.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was looking for. Counter prime. The way you beat a 6 prime is to counter prime and hope your opponent crashes first. And so we have a roll that allows us to do it pretty well given this. By the way, this actually happened in a actual match in a tournament. I was white, and I actually ended up winning this. I didn't get this one right, but I'll go over the next one, which will be easy once we see what the answer for this one was. So what's the right play? Yeah, we want to counter prime because that's the only way to win. Black hopefully comes in and crashes his board, or crashes his prime before he can escape. So how do we do this?
I would play 10-7 twice.
2 off the 10.
Yes.
2 off the 10.
You're at 5 point.
I'd make the 5 and slot and slot the
Right,
six.
right, that's it, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is the right play. Well, first thing, okay, we've got to make the 5 point. That's the first thing. That should be, I mean, that should be obvious to everyone that, you know, 2 on the bar, we got to make the 5 point. So the question is, you know, how do we make it? And the tricky part, because we can make it with the 3 or the 5. And if you start with making it with this one, you're gonna say, well, what's the best 5? Well, if you started with that one, the best 5 is down here. Okay. And if you start with this one, how do you play the 3?
10 to 7 to extend your prime.
That's right. You want to extend the prime, and you know there's no risk to this one because black is on the bar with 2 checkers. Black is not going to hit this one. So now is the perfect time to slot, slot the inside of a prime. This is.
I'm surprised you got this wrong in the tournament, Gary. What did you do?
I did this and said, "Oh, this is the best roll."
Oh,
Well, it's one of those where then I picked up the dice and said, "Oh, I could have done this one."
Ah,
So yeah. So the answer here is this, and this is a blunder. That's actually what I did. Luckily, my opponent should have doubled me, and I should have dropped, but he didn't know that. Oh, actually, no. I think this was. Yeah, I think this. Maybe this. I don't know if that was a score or not. No, that wasn't the score. It was a blunder what I did. Okay, but then I went to the next. Then I realized that and got to my next roll. So yeah, so I came down here with the midpoint cover. Black came in with a 2. Now I've got a 4-3 to play. Now what's the right move with this 4-3?
Extend the prime again.
Same thing.
The 13,
39
19,
times 7, I guess.
Yeah, it's the same idea. It's you know the play that I should have done the time before that is now we've got to we've got to extend the prime, and the way to do that is to slot the 7 point, slot the bar point. Now it's much riskier here because I'm giving up a lot of return shots. 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 4, or 1, 5, and 3, 5. So that's like 10 shots. Whereas if I'd done the other play before, I would have covered it, and now I've got a game. But the idea is,
No one doubled at that point? I mean, the dice.
the score. This is not the right score, but I think he was already at 6, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
I think this was like 3, something like that. So, and probably I had already cubed as post Crawford. So, yeah. So the cube didn't really matter here because it was post Crawford. So anyway, that's it for today. But the idea here is it's often you fight the way you defeat a prime is by counter priming and hope your opponent crashes first. And if you crash first, then tough luck. But that's about all you've got here. Because if black comes out, it gets the timing to come around. You can't, not much you can do. And even if you do, get the prime, and black is forced to break this point, you then have to roll a 6 before you crash. So, okay, good enough. Stop the recording.